Shocking information in the desperate search for 8-year-old California girl Sandra Cantu tonight. 1 week and still no trace at all of this beautiful little girl who vanished last Friday in broad daylight after playing with a friend. The second grader was last seen in her mobile park community wearing a pink Hello Kitty t-shirt and black leggings. Cops frantically looking for any signs of Sandra, sending out helicopters going through the town's trash and dredging through rivers. Then came this surprising announcement from investigators.
A Hello Kitty t-shirt was found in the transfer station as they were going through the trash. However, when a picture was shown to Mom, she said it wasn't her daughter's t-shirt.
Authorities say they will run tests on the shirt just to be certain. But you have to wonder, what a coincidence that a little girl vanishes with a pink Hello Kitty t-shirt and a similar t-shirt, Hello Kitty, found in the trash. We'll analyze that one. Meantime, cops identify 60 people living in Sandra's community who view or exchange child porn. That's not all. And they say 78 registered sex offenders live in this town. Is this typical of America as a whole? What's going on here? And what is the likelihood one of these people are related to her mysterious disappearance? Straight out to my fantastic expert panel, Dr. Dale Archer, clinical psychiatrist, Wendy Murphy, former prosecutor and author of And Justice for Some, plus Drew Finling, Atlanta criminal defense attorney, and Vinnie Parco, a private investigator, also by phone, Eric Furpo, city editor with the Tracy Press. He has been covering this case from the very start. Eric, what is the very latest?
Well, the latest is that, that they continue the search and they haven't found the girl and they've made no arrests in the case.
All right, well, they held a news conference and they announced she has a birthmark on her cheek. Did they not? What did they say about that?
Yeah, they did. And they showed a photograph. You could actually barely see it. So, but she has a little, kind of a dark mole on her right cheek.
Now, okay, so they said that that's a distinctive feature, Eric, and that people out there looking for a child should look for this distinctive. Tell us what it is again.
Well, it's actually not that dark, and it was very difficult to see in the photo, but she does have a little mole on her right cheek.
All right. Dr. Dale Archer, I want to ask you about this Hello Kitty t-shirt. It seems astounding, an astounding coincidence that this little girl's last seen in a pink Hello Kitty t-shirt, and they find a Hello Kitty t-shirt in the trash, but the mother says that's not the same t-shirt. My question to you is, could she be in shock? Could she be in denial? Could it be too difficult for her on an emotional level to acknowledge that could be her daughter's shirt, given the implications? Or is it possible that it's just a wild coincidence?
I mean, I think it's possible that she could be in that much shock, but I think it's unlikely. I mean, I think that we would have to assume that the mother would know the exact shirt that her daughter was wearing. And I don't know how many different versions of these T-shirts there are, but I would take it at face value and say, you know what, this is probably true. It's probably not the shirt. A shocking coincidence, but I don't think it's the case.
So going back to Eric, were both T-shirts pink?
Yeah, they were pink. She was last seen wearing a pink Hello Kitty T-shirt and black leggings. But, and they really thought this was the big break in the case, actually. They were talking about that today, but it's not the shirt.
Wow.
So they're, as far as they're concerned, they've moved on. It's not the shirt. They're not looking at the shirt anymore. They will test it just to be, 100% certain, but really they don't think it was the shirt. So.
Wendy Murphy, what do you make of it?
Well, I have a 7-year-old who loves Hello Kitty, and Hello Kitty T-shirts really are different. They come in a variety of styles, and they are mostly all pink, so it may well be nothing. But I think it's interesting that they're pointing out the mole on the cheek, and we're talking about child pornography, Jane, because if you clip a kid and you're trying to either sell her for sex or porn, one of the things you're going to do is dye her hair, try to make her look different, but you can't easily get rid of a mole. So I think it's telling, I think it's important that people understand that the connection between little girls who disappear in this country or show up dead and child pornography is a real epidemic, and we need to know this because the first thing we should be talking about is sex offenders and child pornography, not the last thing. So that mole may well be an important clue for someone who sees that this child has been taken. Her hair may look different, but that mole will probably still be there.
Well, Drew Finling, I was shocked. I always am shocked when I hear these statistics. 80, almost almost 80 registered sex offenders in the immediate area, and then 60 viewers or exchangers of child porn. And we don't know if there's overlap there, but still, it seems to me a lot. And yet, when you think about the Haley Cummings case, apparently there were 44 sex offenders who were grilled by authorities who lived in that immediate area, and of course, it didn't help. What do you make of these astounding statistics?
Well, Jane, you know it's an issue I bring over and over again regarding the Cummings case. We cannot confuse the sex offenders that are 18-year-olds that had a relationship with their 9th grade girlfriends. Unfortunately, they're there and they increase and inflate the numbers. I think what's going to be different in this case is the immediate use of the FBI. This is the FBI's specialty right here. And I think you're already seeing a sharp contrast between this and the Cummings case and even the Anthony case, even though there's a month delay, for the following reasons. We've never heard anything in the Cummings case about looking into people looking at pornography sites. That's never been mentioned in that case, but the FBI is all over that in this case. I can guarantee you, if there's a swampy, marshy area, they'll be draining it and not worrying about snakes like they did in the Anthony case. That's one of the most pitiful aspects of that case.
Wow.
That will not happen as long as the FBI is involved.
One of the
I got
important...
to correct something. I got to correct something
Go
here.
ahead. Go
Just
ahead.
because we haven't heard that police have wondered or even checked to see who in the Haley Cummings area might have shared pornography doesn't mean they haven't done it, and it doesn't mean it's not part of the investigative process. Let me tell you, child pornography is a huge, multi-billion-dollar industry in this country, so they'd be derelict if they weren't looking at it. And guess who the #1 makers are of child pornography?
Wendy, this is Wendy. I will agree with you, Wendy. I will agree with you, Wendy. But Wendy, I agree with you. But when we had a press conference 2 days ago, Wendy, where the police are saying they're too caught up in the dispute between the father and the mother, my goodness gracious, what do they care about the father and the mother? Get out there and work. And we're seeing in this case already a heightened sense of activity, and I think that's what the FBI brings. They don't care about mothers and fathers.
I agree with you. I think we're going to get to the Haley Cummings case in a little bit on this show, but I have to say, you're right. The FBI is already involved. The FBI searched the home of a man in the mobile home park, and this man's named Christian Sinclair. He was arrested Monday for allegedly interfering with the investigation, but was later cited and released. 3 vehicles connected to him have already been seized, and we are learning that he has had more than 1 restraining order against him. Yeah. Eric, what do authorities have to say about this individual and his past, particularly regarding the restraining orders? And I have to stress, this man is not considered a suspect. You know, everybody's going to have a past, and you talk to people, things are going to come up. Doesn't mean he's involved. But what do you know about this guy, Eric?
Okay, well, he has had a couple of restraining orders against him, including his own parents took out a restraining order in 2004 against the guy because, and they said in the form that they filled out that he was a drug abuser and an alcoholic, and another restraining order from a woman who also lives in the mobile home park the year before, just, described a very violent and abusive guy. So, but, getting back to the child porn thing real quick, the Tracy Police Department is the one that, in this case, I think, is mostly developing the child porn leads because they have a guy who spends a lot of time on the internet posing as little girls. They bought software that masks the Tracy Police Department's IP address, and he'll go and set up phony MySpace and Facebook accounts and talk to child porn people, posing as some girl that they're trying to lure. And there have been a couple of high-profile arrests in the last year or so here. So,
it's interesting because I was wondering how they were finding out who was looking at child porn.
Yeah, that's how they do it. And so they've spent, the software was pretty expensive, and so that's part of his full-time job at the, he's one of 2 guys who, look into child sex crimes, and he does spend a lot of time on the internet posing as girls.
All right, well, we'll get to more of that in just a second. Everybody sit tight. So much more to analyze in the desperate search for Sandra Cantu, and another frantic search underway for Haley Cummings. But now the focus